Second hour of Clay and Buck kicks off now. There's a op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, a win-win exit strategy for Trump on tariffs, written by Art Laffer and Stephen Moore. Dr. Art Laffer joins us now, renowned economist. Guy came up with that whole Laffer curve thing. Brilliant man. He is with us. Thanks for being here, Art. Appreciate you.
My pleasure, my pleasure. It's really fun being with you guys, by the way. Love it.
So you're an upbeat, you're a brilliant guy and an upbeat guy, and we need that today, given what we're seeing out there. You're not a catastrophist. You're not a doom and gloom guy. Let's just start with this. When people are telling you, I am concerned about what's happening right now in the markets, what do you say to them? What's your overall feeling? I want to get into the win-win strategy from your piece, but first off, an opportunity to tell everybody, don't panic.
Well, I'm panicking when they tell me that. I'm screaming and hollering. I'm on the floor crying. I said, it's the end of the world. It's the end. No. Donald Trump is an extraordinarily competent president. In my view, he was the single best first-term president. Now, I'm just talking about economics now, just economics. The single best first-term president in U.S. history. If you look at the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, it was wonderful. If you look at Operation Warp Speed, unbelievable. Energy independence, the rollback of the Chevron decision, all of these things there. I mean, it was just unbelievable what he did in his first term. And he is in his second term now. And, he's competent. He's got all the skills. He's very knowledgeable in the subject. And I believe, now this is me, I believe that he is using the threats of tariffs and the actual imposition of tariffs to get these other countries to come and negotiate free trade deals with us. They are far more protectionist than we are. We are, as a country, U.S., probably the lowest tariff, the lowest protectionist country, a major country in the world. There may be something like Sark or Jersey or Guernsey or something like Monaco or something like that. But of the big countries, we're by far the least protectionist. And how do you get these other countries to come to the table and negotiate getting rid of their tariffs? And, you've got to threaten them with access to the U.S. market. And so that's what he's doing, I believe. Now, you're going to talk to Trump, and you got to talk to him because he knows far better what he's doing than I do. And I'm no source of special knowledge. But knowing him and knowing all the trade stuff I do, I cannot believe that he would do anything that would really hurt America in the long run by having a trade war.
Okay, so let's dive into this. Dr. Laffer, Art Laffer, we appreciate you coming on. Every time we come on and talk economics with you, the audience loves it because you're way smarter about this stuff than we are. Big picture here. It seems to me, and I read your Wall Street Journal editorial. It's posted and linked at clayandbuck.com. Encourage people to go check that out. It seems to me that Trump is talking about two different things in many ways as it pertains to a trade war. One, and I think Buck and I are in agreement with you, to the extent that we can eliminate as many tariffs as possible on free trading countries, that's a great thing because it allows even competition. It allows even movement of goods with less cost. But China is cheating on the global stage. And to a large extent, aren't there kind of two different goals? Because if we eliminated all tariffs with China, wouldn't that in some way reward them even more for their cheating? Do you see this as, let's say the European Union, Australia, Great Britain, China, Japan, South Korea, those are kind of fair trade partners in general. And then you've got China that's in an entirely different universe. Are we really talking about two different policy perspectives? How would you analyze that when it comes to trade relationships?
I would say that the two of you are wrong. China is right in the same category with all the others. Cheating, I don't know what the heck cheating means. If they gave us all their products free of charge, so we got high-quality products at low cost, would you hate them then and want to bomb them? I mean, when you look at it from a customer standpoint, when you go to a store, do you sell them, please sell me above retail. I want you to charge me the most you possibly can for this product. No, we'd like to give it to you. No, I mean, China is potentially our best trading partner in the world long term. And I really think that we need to get China into the free trade group. And if you really think about it for a moment, do you like your customers and your clients and your clientele? Of course you do. The one way of guaranteeing hostilities will occur is not trading with a country. When you're trading with one, you're a customer, they're a customer, and it leads to friendships, it leads to great prosperity, and it leads to eliminating war.
Art, can you tell us why do so many of these other countries have and have had long-standing tariffs, and why does China have so many and such aggressive tariffs?
Well, let me tell you why. Is because these little countries, I say little, Germany, these types of just teeny tiny little countries do. They talk to our trade officials and so, we've got to put this on for political reasons, blah, 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 blah. And the U.S. says, go ahead, please. It's okay, do it. It doesn't really affect us very much. And over the years, this has built up to being a really travesty. They now have way more protection. Every single one of them. It's not just one-off with one tariff. It's accumulated, and now they have all these. For example, can you imagine there are 250% tariffs in Canada against Wisconsin dairy products? What? How did that come about? I'm sure it came about with some deal with some president and some prime minister of Canada. We've got to do this. I'll lose the election if I don't do it. And they get this one-off exemption. And all of this is built up, and now Trump is trying to get rid of it, and quite correctly so. We need to get rid of their tariffs, their quotas, their non-tariff barriers. They're hurting us, and they're hurting them.
But why can't China figure out that its tariffs are hurting it?
I think it will. If you remember, I was the first American to go to China in 1970. In October of 1970, I went with George Shultz and John Ehrlich when we did the pre-Kissinger trip. But then they had 100% tariffs. They had no trade with the outside world. They were called the Hermit Kingdom. They opened up their trade. They saw how the by lowering their trade barriers, by entering into trade, it created the greatest economic growth miracle in modern history. The Chinese growth from 1970 to, let's say, 5 years ago was just a phenomenal period for China. More people were removed from poverty than in the entire history of humanity, 190,000 years. So it's really, I think China will understand this. And I think China will, in due course, enter into a free trade agreement with the U.S. as well. And it will be wonderful when that happens. Believe me.
Okay, so let's go into this China relationship in particular, because you say
Sure.
you see it as similar to the EU and the other countries that I laid out. What does an ideal relationship from your perspective look like with China when it comes to trade? Because it is going to be the case that if we had, for instance, zero tariffs at all, China is going to be exporting, I think, 400 billion is the number that I saw, something like that. The trade imbalance is seismic. We're going to be buying more Chinese goods than China is going to be buying American goods. Is that trade imbalance in any way an issue from your perspective, and how would you rectify it? What is, in other words, let's pretend that you, Art Laffer, were given a magic wand and you got to solve it. What would your answer be?
Now, would you mind? Tell me how much it bothers you for foreigners wanting to invest in the U.S. because they think we're the greatest country in the world. Let's imagine we cut taxes, cut regulations, had stable prices, no regulation, all the correct policies. Everyone would want to invest in the United States. How do foreigners generate a dollar cash flow to buy U.S. located assets? There are only two ways they can do that. They've got to sell more goods to us, and they've got to buy less goods from us. That's the only way they can generate that dollar cash flow to invest in the United States of America. And that's the most wonderful thing. We built our country from 1640 until 1870 on trade deficits. We imported all of this capital from Europe, primarily Britain and Holland, and used it with our labor and with our raw materials, and we became the preeminent economic force on planet Earth because of capital investments, which is a U.S. trade deficit. Trade deficits are great. Let me ask you, which would you rather have? Capital line up on our borders trying to get into our country or trying to get out of our country? If we bring a factory back from Mexico into the United States and bring all those machines and all that production equipment, by coming across the Mexican-U.S. border, that's a Mexican export and a Mexican trade surplus. It's a U.S. import and a U.S. trade deficit. It's also a U.S. capital surplus and a Mexican capital deficit. Trade deficits are how we bring our capital back to the U.S. And I think we should have trade deficits. And China thinks that we're the best country in the world and they want to invest all their capital in the U.S. God bless them. And
okay, Art. So I need some help here, squaring the circle for a second. So if trade deficits are good, and all tariffs are bad and self-defeating, and so trade imbalance is a good thing. We want trade imbalance. Do you like what Trump is doing, or are you trying to tell him to not do any of this?
No, I'm the biggest fan. I'm his biggest fan. I think he's negotiating, and I think he's negotiating to get them to reduce their tariffs against us, which are far larger than our tariffs and trade barriers are against them. And I think he brings them to the table. What is it, 60, 70 countries are coming to negotiate? What are they coming to negotiate? We will cut our tariffs dramatically. Please just allow us access to your market. And I think that's just the wonderful thing for Trump to do, and I think he's going to be very successful at it. It scares the living hell out of me, by the way. I'm a wuss. I'm not a negotiator. I'm not a guy like Trump. Trump knows how to negotiate, and he loves doing it, and he's really successful at it. But my belief is that Trump deep down is a free trader all the way. And I think he just really wants to get them to come here and lower tariffs on their products by a lot. And he did this in the first term, by the way. The Japanese trade deal was great for lowering tariffs. The USMCA was wonderful for lowering tariffs and barriers. The South Korean deal he did, the one he did with Brazil, the one he did with Colombia, all resulted in better trade relationships with these countries. And that's what I think he's trying to do. Now, he can tell you otherwise, and he may well be not doing this, but I really have full trust in him that he's doing the right thing. And I feel very comfortable.
Let me ask you this. A lot of people listening in the Midwest, J.D. Vance obviously wrote his book, Hillbilly Elegy, which is a bestseller. I'm sure you read it. Buck and I have read it. What is the answer for people who feel like the jobs have been hollowed out in the industrial Midwest? For people listening to us in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, that got used to having those jobs that were going to pay so well to produce American goods. Is that an issue?
I want you to tell the audience where the two of you are located.
I'm in
Miami.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, I'm in Nashville too. Now, why am I in Nashville? We are the lowest tax state in the nation, and earning income is a lot more fun with lower taxes, lower regulations. We have no death tax. We have no gift tax. We have no unearned cap tax. We have no income tax. We have one of the lowest property taxes in the nation. We have the best spending. We have the best public services. We don't have a manufacturing problem in Tennessee. All these auto companies are coming in here in floods. The problem with manufacturing is Detroit. It's Michigan. It's Ohio. It's Pennsylvania. It's Wisconsin. It's Illinois. These places are pits. They're anti-production, anti-prosperity places, and they're driving all the business out. It's not China. It's the governments of these states that have made it absolutely intolerable. Can you imagine opening up a factory in Detroit, Michigan today where property taxes are in some places up to 50%, 15% on that, where the state income tax, the death tax, the union, it's a horrible place. Our problem is with the states that had the manufacturing, and they are repelling that manufacturing en masse. And that's the problem. It's not the competition from abroad. And if you don't believe me, just look at Tennessee and how we're doing in Texas and Florida. All of us are doing well except for those horribly run states.
All right. Dr. Art Laffer, appreciate your perspective today, sir. Thank you very much.
Hey, it's my pleasure. And any time, by the way, it's fun being with you guys, and I love watching you all the time. You guys are spectacular, and I'm really proud you're in Tennessee.
Thank you. We need to get dinner sometime.
I would anytime you want. Just give me a call and it's done, and I'll even pay for it as long as it's at McDonald's.
All righty. Sounds good.
I appreciate it, Dr. Laffer.
Thank you so much. All right, there's no shortage of ways your online identity can wind up in the wrong hands, but when it happens, your life is turned upside down. Cyber thieves open bogus accounts in your name and rack up huge bills before you discover the problem. It's important to understand how cybercrime and identity theft are affecting our lives. Your best defense is LifeLock's online identity theft protection. Their 24/7 systems monitor millions of data points a second for risks to your online identity. If you do become a victim of identity theft, a dedicated U.S.-based LifeLock restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Easy to help protect yourself with LifeLock. Join now. Save 40% off your first year with my name, Buck, as your promo code. Call 1-800-LifeLock or go online to LifeLock.com and use promo code BUCK for 40% off. Terms apply.